Okay, so I will just go ahead and start explaining the muscles. First, we're going to start with the anterior compartment of the leg. The leg here that we are referring to is the part of the lower limb that is below the knee. First, we have the anterior compartment. The anterior compartment here is a group of 4 muscles that act to dorsiflex and invert the foot. Okay. Dorsiflex and invert the foot. So in this case, what we are trying to say is that if these muscles contract, they shorten, hence they pull on the feet, and they would cause it to dorsiflex in this position. If the opposite muscles contract, which is the posterior compartment, they would cause the opposite effect. This way, but we're going to focus on these 4 muscles right here, and if they contract, they would pull on the toes like that and cause dorsiflexion. Okay. The first muscle that we're going to focus on is the tibialis anterior. The tibialis anterior is located alongside the lateral surface of the tibia. You can see here lateral surface of the tibia, and attaches to the medial cuneiform right here. You can see the medial cuneiform and the base of the metatarsal 1. We isolate this and we're able to see that. If you isolate it, you're able to see how this muscle is situated. So medial side of the tibia goes down, goes medially, attaches to the medial cuneiform and the base of the metatarsal bone. And the action is dorsiflexion and inversion of the foot. So let's just go together towards how this looks like. What this means is that dorsiflexion from this side, it will cause the foot to move this way. Okay. And when we look from this side, it will cause the foot to dorsiflex. This is dorsiflexion. Okay. And this movement that I said before, like that, is inversion. And what it is innervated by is the deep fibular nerve. Okay, deep fibular nerve. The next muscle that we're going to discuss is the extensor digitorum longus, which is this muscle. The extensor digitorum longus only reaches out to toes 2, 3, 4, and 5. It starts also on the lateral condyle of the tibia and also the medial surface of the fibula. The fibers, they get close and form a tendon which travels onto the dorsal surface of the foot, and the tendon splits into four, and each tendon inserts into a separate toe. Okay, as seen here. That's where it starts, goes down, and controls the four last toes. What it does is that it is able to extend the lateral four toes and dorsiflex the foot. Well, how does that mean? Let's imagine that the toes are not like that. Now they're straight, but let's imagine them like this. You know, you flex them. Okay? Let's imagine that the start position is like this. What this muscle does is that it will cause these toes to come back and become straight again. Okay? That's why it's able to extend the four last lateral toes. Now, for the whole foot, on the other hand, let's imagine that the foot is not, it is not like that, but it is here. What it does is that if it contracts, it will cause the foot to move to this position. Okay? And this is called dorsiflexion. Okay? And let's imagine that this toe, for example, as I explained in the beginning, that it's like this. Okay, that we start here, it will cause extension of the toes. Again, wait, let me just draw it again. The start position is here, and the end position is here. And what it does, it extends the toes. Okay, that's the motion of the extensor digitorum longus. It lies deep and laterally to the tibialis anterior, the first muscle we talked about, and it will attach to the first to the lateral four toes. Okay. Now, finally, not finally, we have one more, but we're gonna speak about this one. The extensor hallucis longus, which is the one that controls the big toe. It's one muscle that controls only the big toe. It's positioned deep to the tibialis anterior and extensor digitorum longus. So this is under both of those muscles. Its tendons emerges from between the two muscles to insert into the big toe. You can see here. Okay. And it originates from the medial surface of the fibular shaft. You can see it has no origination from the tibia. It's the fibula. Okay. And the tendon crosses the anterior, okay, to the ankle joint and attaches to the base of the distal phalanx. What it does is that it does extension of the toe and dorsiflexion of the foot. Again, draw this movement. So what it does, this is where the toe starts. Imagine the function of this is the end position. The function of this muscle is to move the big toe this way. Hence, extension. It extends the big toe. Okay? Extension. And also, let's imagine that the whole foot, that's the last position, that's the starting position, and it will cause also help the other muscles to cause dorsiflexion of the foot. The next muscle that we're going to discuss is called fibularis tertius. Now, fibularis tertius is the fourth muscle, is thought to arise from the most distal part of the extensor digitorum longus. So it actually arises from the muscle. Attachment, it originates from the extensor digitorum longus and also from the medial surface of the fibula. Okay. The tendon descends and goes down, okay, onto the dorsal surface of the foot and attaches onto the fifth metatarsal. Here. You can see that it attaches onto the base of the fifth metatarsal. What it does, it causes eversion and dorsiflexion. Now, we said in the beginning that, for example, the anterior tibialis attaches here. So when it contracts, it causes eversion and dorsiflexion of the foot. This muscle, because it's attached on the other side of the foot, it causes eversion. This is E. Sorry, give me a second. This movement eversion. Okay, this movement is basically like that. The other one is the same, but the opposite. It's called inversion. Okay, inversion. Okay, and these are the four muscles found in the anterior compartment of the leg. Mainly, if they're attached in this side, causes inversion, on this side causes eversion, and mainly dorsiflexion. Okay. Next, we are done with the anterior compartment of the leg. We're gonna go on to the next group, which is the muscle of the lateral compartment of the leg. Now, the muscles of the lateral compartment of the leg are mainly two muscles, the fibularis longus and the fibularis brevis. And let me now isolate them or multiply select them. It's the soleus, that's the one. So that's the lateral compartment. It's only two muscles, but I will also choose the tibia and where they're attached, just so that we can get an idea. You have the lateral compartment of the foot attached like that. Maybe let me get it's actually deeper than that. We can see now where it attaches. The lateral compartment of the foot is made up of fibularis longus and fibularis brevis. The common function of the muscles is eversion. Okay, easy. We know that if the muscles are attached on this side of the foot, they will cause it to move this way. Eversion. Okay. And this means that the sole of the foot is turned outwards. Okay. And how are they innervated? They're innervated by something called the superficial fibular nerve. Superficial fibular nerve. That causes them to contract. Now, fibularis longus, which is this one, I didn't select actually the fibula because fibula is what we need here, not the tibia. Now you see that it's the fibula that is the main one that we want. It's attached. The fibularis longus is the larger and the more superficial muscle than in the compartment. It's found here. And its attachment is that the fibularis longus originates from the superior and the lateral surface of the fibula, and also a little bit of the lateral epicondyle of the tibia. It's not very obvious here. The fibers then all join here and form a tendon, and this tendon it crosses under the foot. If you see, for the fibularis longus, comes under the foot and attaches onto the base of the metatarsal one. Okay, that's the base of the metatarsal one. Action is eversion and plantar flexion of the foot. What does that mean? So here, let's say this muscle contracts. First, will cause the foot to move this way, eversion, and because it attaches to the bottom of the foot, what it will do is that, let's say we're starting here, if it contracts, it will cause the foot to move on the opposite direction, and this is called plantar flexion, okay? And as we said, superficial fibular nerve innervates this. The next one is fibularis brevis. It's a deeper and shorter than the fibularis longus. It's under it. It originates from, hope we can hide that. No, we can't. Here. It originates from the inferolateral surface of the fibular shaft, okay? And then it forms a tendon, and this tendon will end at the base of the fifth metatarsal. And make sure to know that it travels posterior to the lateral malleolus, okay? And the action here is that it will cause eversion of the foot. It is also innervated by the superficial fibular nerve, okay? These are the lateral compartments of the foot, of the leg. Now, finally, we have the posterior compartment. The posterior compartment, now I'm going to quit this. Posterior compartment, it contains 7 muscles and can be divided into superficial and deep compartments. Let's just take it slow and see how. Now we hit 1, we hit 2, and then you can see that it is the posterior compartment is made up of so many of them. Okay, but we will take it slowly. First, the superficial compartment. There are 3 muscles in the superficial compartment of the posterior leg, and they all insert into the calcaneus. You can see here. And this is by this tendon, the Achilles tendon, okay? Of course, tendons and bones don't work together. Hence, we might need bursas to be present. I hope I can get them out in a way and show you. Here, you can see that a bursa is found here and here. So these bursas help reduce friction between tendons and bones, okay? The first muscle that we have to talk about is the gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius, which is this one. It has medial head and lateral head. Let's select them. We can see that it extends even on top and goes here. Now we can see how the gastrocnemius attaches on the posterior compartment of the leg. The gastrocnemius is the most superficial, since it's found on the posterior leg, has a medial and lateral head, and form the characteristic calf shaped here. The attachment is that the lateral head originates from the lateral femoral condyle. This is lateral. The lateral head originates from the lateral femoral condyle. The medial originates from the medial femoral condyle. The 2 heads combine to form a single muscle belly. And they, if you see here, we have to get the soleus in to see and show you something that they all converge in a way to form this tendon at the end, okay? And the action is, let's say, these muscles contract, okay? And I want to make sure I select some sort of foot bones, just so like we have an idea of what we are doing. And I will isolate. Let's say you can imagine that this is the foot, and let's imagine that these muscles contract. If they contract, what do? We start here, they will pull on this bone, and they will cause the foot to end here. And this is called plantar flexion at the ankle joint. It will also cause flexion of the knee joint. Here at the ankle joint, plantar flexion, and at the knee joint, it will cause flexion of the knee joint. Hence, bring this way. Okay. The innervation is tibial nerve. To cause these muscles to contract, innervation is tibial nerve. The soleus now, I'm going to try and isolate this one. You can see that the soleus, it is underneath the gastrocnemius, and it gets the name from resembling a fish called the sole, because the fish looks like that. It's exactly like that, flat and in the shape. It originates from the soleal line of the tibia and the proximal fibula here at this region. So both of them. And it will converge with the gastrocnemius to form the calcaneal tendon and inserts into the calcaneus. Okay. The action is plantar flexion of the foot at the ankle joint. Again, foot, starting position, ending position, and plantar flexion. Tibial nerve is innervation. The next thing is the plantaris. Where is it? I think it's this one. No, that's the popliteus. Where's the plantaris? This muscle is maybe not going to be found here because it's absent in 10% of the population. So we will not cover it. But gastrocnemius and soleus in the superficial compartment. The deep muscles, first we have the popliteus. The popliteus is located behind the knee joint and forms the base of the popliteal fossa. That's the popliteal fossa, and it forms the base of it. It originates from the lateral condyle of the femur. This is the lateral condyle of the femur, and it originates from there. And also the lateral meniscus of the knee joint. Right here, in a way. This is the, right here, this is the lateral meniscus, and it originates from this point. And it will insert into the proximal tibia, immediately above the origin of the soleus muscle. Okay? Because soleus, as we saw a little bit a while ago, it originates from here. That's where it attaches. So the action of this muscle, if it contracts, what does it do? Lateral rotation of the femur relative to the tibia. And I don't know if you've ever tried to do this motion with your femur. The femur basically rotates this way. Or let me just help you. If it contracts, it causes lateral rotation, so to the outside, like that, away from the body. Okay. The innervation of this is tibial nerve again. Now, there's one muscle that controls all of the toes to cause them to flex. It's called the flexor digitorum longus of the foot. And you can see the course of it. It's on the posterior side, goes down and attaches on the lateral toes on the distal phalanx. And flexor digitorum longus attachment, it originates from the medial surface of the tibia. Here, medial surface of the tibia. This is the medial surface of the tibia. And attaches to the plantar surface of the phalanx of the great, the lateral four digits here. On the plantar surface, this is the plantar surface. Here, these surfaces on the underfoot are called the plantar surfaces, and they attach on the toes. What they do is flexion of the lateral four toes, sorry. What does it do? Flexion. So we're going to start here. If it contracts, it will get the toes to move this way, okay? Because imagine it will pull like that, and so it has to pull those toes. Hence, we say this is flexion of the lateral four toes. Innervation is tibial nerve. Next, we have this one. The flexor hallucis longus. It's located laterally in the posterior compartment, attaches to the posterior surface of the fibula, and then goes to attach to the plantar surface of the hallucis toe. And flexion of greater toe. Okay. Innervation again, tibial nerve. And finally, we have the muscle called tibialis posterior, found under flexor hallucis longus and flexor digitorum longus. It's called tibialis posterior and attaches at this location in the foot. It is the deepest of all the four muscles in the posterior compartment, and it lies between flexor digitorum longus and flexor hallucis longus. It originates from the posterior surface and the interosseous membrane of tibia and fibula. Here. Tendon enters the foot posterior to the medial malleolus, as you see. Okay? And then attaches to the medial tarsal bones. Here. These ones. The action is inversion and so what I mean by inversion, I don't know if you understood me, guys, but let's say the foot is now straight, then maybe give you a different angle. Let's say your toes are like that. And let's say the foot comes like that. So the toes will now be facing this way. That's inversion. Plantar flexion, because now we want to contract this way. You're going to have to speak about contraction this way. So imagine it contracts. It's attached on the bottom, so it will pull on that. So the foot starting here will become here. So that's plantar flexion. And again, innervation is tibial nerve. And this is the end of muscles of the leg. Anterior, lateral, and posterior compartments. We're done with this point. So hence, now I want to just show you what part of the book you should look at for referral. Okay. Just give me a second. I will open the book. Mm. It's just taking some time to download. Just give me a second. It's here. It's here. I got it. And I'll share it with you guys. And then we will go down to the second index on page 112. Give me a second. 97. So we have to go to page 112. And I hope I'm actually sharing this. Yes, perfect. 112. And then we will have to look at muscles of the leg, page 57. Seven. Compartments of the leg here. We can see that we are talking about anterior, posterior, and lateral. These are the things that we explained. We have the anterior compartment. The anterior compartment includes 5 muscles: tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus, extensor digitorum longus, extensor digitorum brevis, hernius tertius, that the ones we spoke about. It dives into each in details. Then we talked about the 2 muscles in the lateral compartment of the leg. They're called fibularis longus and fibularis brevis, or there's a different name called peroneus longus and peroneus brevis. Explains them details. And then we have muscles of the back of the leg. We said superficial and deep. And here they include the 3 muscles, gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris. And then you have popliteus, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, and tibialis posterior. And it explains them to you in very great details, which is very good for you. And this is the end of our point for muscles of the leg. Okay. Which is very, very good for you to be using those while studying. We will dive into muscles of the foot next. And of course, there is notes for them. But before I show you the notes and present them to you here, I will have to explain them on the animation for you to maybe go into details of understanding them. But I will take a break for now, and then we'll continue next.